Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of A Record of My Father. Today we're going to be talking about cooking. Yeah, cooking. What's your favorite thing to cook?
Oh, we're not talking about what you were doing on your first day when you were 14, right?
No.
That kind of cooking. Oh, cooking.
The- you cracked me up.
Now we're talking about stuff that you cook in the pan. I've always talked about the wildness of some of the food we ate growing up and how it was cooked, and that how my sister took over pretty much all the cooking duties by about when she was. How old are you in fifth grade? 10?
Fifth grade, 9 and 10, probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Probably
So
around
she
there.
started in fourth grade. She graduated
So
to
she was like
head cook at
8
the
or
Brown
9.
household at fifth grade. I mean, but my mother cooked on weekends, but she worked all week, Monday through Friday, hours in and out. My sister cooked dinner every night. We made lunch. We didn't buy lunch from school. We barely afforded the milk, which was 3 cents when I started for a half pint. You know those little things of milk, and
Three
then it went
cents. Wow.
went all the way up to a nickel. How ridiculous was that?
What is it
That's
now, do you think?
uh, I don't know. I mean, that's one of the reasons that when we talk about school lunches and stuff, I'm like,
I think that's crazy that people still have to pay for public school lunch. I think
yeah,
that's
yeah,
ridiculous. I think we're the
yeah,
only considered first world, I use air quotes when I say first world, country in the world that I
yeah,
think makes their citizens pay for school lunch.
yeah,
I think that is
yeah.
absurd. I
And
think
and
that's
the whole
crazy.
idea that they beat on the kids when the bill gets too big.
It sounds like a an operation or a collection of people that we are more familiar with. The mafia. It sounds like a
Yeah.
mafioso
Well, yeah,
kind of
they're
deal.
embarrassing the little kid because the parents didn't give him $2 to go and pay down his lunch debt.
I remember
You know,
they used to talk down to the kids that couldn't afford school lunch and
that's what I'm
that went to
talking
my
about.
elementary school. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that. And I remember
yeah,
the teachers almost were and they would go to the principal's office too.
yeah.
And I thought that I never really
The
thought about it
kids
until
would
you
go.
mentioned it. Yeah. And they were like, you have to pay for that. But when you don't, barely understand the idea of currency and money at that age, I don't know, it's kind of interesting that they pressure the
and
kid.
and we live in probably one of the top five wealthiest communities
Yeah.
in the country. So
Well, he was coming from
I know.
elsewhere too, out of state,
No,
which
no,
I thought was
we
interesting.
bought a lot of people that farmed into it because it was one of the top schools in the country for
Yeah.
elementary school, and
Yeah.
it was a feeder school to TJ, which was a big reason that people would want to go there, and that they, and the bottom line is, if he didn't get a free school lunch or he didn't have some way to pay for the school lunch, that he didn't eat.
No,
And
exactly.
at our house, we the night before, one thing that my mother was really good at was, even though she got home was beat, we cook, we'd probably do laundry or something like that, and then whatever homework. I always did my homework at school. It was so fast because we didn't have like 3 hours of homework like you did. But then
Yeah, we
we
had
would sit down and we'd
ridiculous amounts.
pack. We would do something called pack the lunches, and we had all these old brown bags. And I mean, I just remember taking big brown, the big shopping bags
Yeah.
and using
Yeah.
those. And then the semi-rich kids had the regular size lunch bags. And I used to think it was so cool that they had a perfect lunch bags. And then there was the people that had the lunch boxes. And
Oh, the tins, the aluminum boxes.
yeah, when I was like first and second grade, I thought that was really cool. But by third grade, I thought it was like really wimpy, and that you should have a brown bag. You should have a cool brown bag. And you could, and some people had their name written on it, or they had drawn this stuff on it, and that was the whole thing about, what is this? And I just remember that, I mean, we pretty much made almost the same thing. We had white bread, Kern's bread, because you could get 5 loaves for $1. 5 loaves of bread for $1. Think about that.
Quick question. I know you hate bologna because of the sandwiches that you made
Right.
when you were, but what?
We used to get, yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, how do you feel about mortadella, which is basically the same kind of premise, but with
Well, because it has
pistachios in it.
olives and other happy
Oh,
sort of
okay,
shit.
got yeah,
And also
pistachios.
it's a little different. And also when you say bologna, you have to remember that we were not getting Oscar Mayer. We were getting the no name, whatever
Oh
it
yeah,
was.
the
There
EBT
was,
card kind
and it was
of.
called Bologna product.
Oh.
I mean, even then they had some rules at the what is it? What is it? FDA or whatever it is, that
Yeah, the
what kind of
FDA.
food you could and eat. And oh my God. Yeah, it was and it was always like a giant pack, almost an 18-ounce pack of bologna sliced, rough sliced, and you would get that on a piece of white bread with a blob of yellow mustard. I only ate yellow mustard, and then eventually we got French's, and I was like, "Wow, this is so different from the yellow mustard we have," because we had no name yellow mustard. But once I got to French's, it was like, "Whoa, you're rich. You have French's mustard." But it was all about spreading it around. And the reason I helped make lunches is because at that time my mother was so tired when she was doing this, she wouldn't spread the damn stuff. She'd just throw a blob in the middle of the bologna and then throw the other piece of
Cool.
bread on it. So you'd have a sandwich the next day that had a yellow dot in the middle of it. That's where it soaked through. And then on the other, and you had a piece of bologna and then another piece of bread. And that was your sandwich. You always had an apple. Always had an apple. Fruit, but
That's surprising.
99.9% of the time it was an apple. And then, because you could buy big bags of apples cheap then, whatever they were.
You still
always cheap,
can. You still can for the most part.
but they were very big, and they were not big apples. They were just big bags. They're really inexpensive, and so you'd have an apple every single day. So fruit, bologna sandwich, and then peanut butter cracker, right? And peanut butter was like saltines. It was a box of the saltines, the big square 4 saltines, and you get one of those, and you put a blob of peanut butter in the middle and stamp it on the other. And if you're lucky, you had a 4, or you'd break them into individuals and have little individual peanut butter packs.
I think it's so funny that you had a peanut butter cracker option, or not option, but in your lunch bag when you were growing up,
Yeah.
because I did as well every single year. Yeah, that's where it came from. That's funny.
Yeah,
I never knew
why
that's where it came from.
That's
and
why I gave it to you, man.
it came from
I mean,
you.
But well, the thing is it's protein. And one of the things that when you think about it, it's like we had protein. She always had meat. And then as we made more, we would get a piece of cheese with the bologna, and the mustard was in the middle, so it didn't soak through the bread. And it was like, whoa, that was like heaven. And then there was we got Little Debbie,
Oh, the oatmeal cakes? Is that
the
what
little oatmeal cakes from Little Debbie, and occasionally there was like waffle bars, but the Little Debbie oatmeal cakes were the cheapest you could buy, and they were a dozen for like 99 cents or something like that.
Are you pro Little Debbie oatmeal cake, or are you anti?
Oh, it's good. I like
like
it. I
it?
mean, but I haven't
Gotcha.
eaten one in 25 years,
Gotcha.
so I wouldn't really know what they taste like now.
I was curious.
I mean,
Yeah, I ate one the other day.
yeah.
I don't know if I like oatmeal. I don't know if that's
Well, that's why people say fried bologna is so good. It's like I never had it fried. I always had it on a sandwich, and it was always on it was on white bread.
I will say fried bologna is a different world than non-fried.
Oh yeah, very
Texture
very,
is
very
completely different.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that is a
Yeah.
completely different
Very
world they're
different,
residing
very
in.
different. But it's like, when you think about it at the time, that was a healthy grouping of food. Our breakfast was the same way.
It kind of hits every notch.
My parents were very strong on eating protein. Everybody needs protein. That was like this big mantra.
Big thing now.
And they were like, we cook bacon for breakfast. Everybody eat bacon or sausage. Bacon or sausage. What do you want? Bacon or sausage? None of that cereal shit. Bacon
I never understood the cereal thing for children.
And we
That
had
doesn't make any
no
sense.
money, but we had bacon, and the bacon was rather fatty, and we had eggs, and eggs were cheap too. So it was like eggs. So we always had like that. Well, I don't remember all those items being there all the time. They were sort of like the way items went in the house was like when you got paid, that's when you had all that food, and then as it got closer and closer to the next payday, you wouldn't find mustard on your sandwich. There would only be one piece of bread and be folded over.
So in case you forgot what time of the month it was, and then that would
you knew
remind
right
you.
away. Oh man, you want a bacon? you want a bacon or a egg? And but it was like that's how you dealt with it. You adjusted.
No. For
And then
sure.
we hunted for bottles, and where our food was. I remember ice cream was like a dime, and that's 5 bottles. So if you went after school and got 5 bottles, you could get 10 cents, and then you could have ice cream the next day. Because I don't remember them charging tax. I don't think there was any tax on the lunch food at that time. But I mean that was one. That's my history. I mean, my mother and my sister made lots of different dishes. My sister she was and is a good cook. My mother did things like she had specialties. She's just amazing at the second pan of pancakes. It's just
Second
amazing.
band, not the first.
Second pan. First pan, she's running around, and she's 80. She was ADHD like me, and she'd start the shit and then she'd burn it, and then and then the second pan would be good. Well, you got to burn the first one, then you know how long you got to cook them.
I mean, she's got a point. She's got a point.
Well, if you watched them, maybe they wouldn't burn, but we didn't. You didn't go there because you're eating pancakes. What the hell you want?
And she's making them, so.
Yeah, and she's making them. Shut up. You're 6. What do you expect? Everything. Anyway, we had some of the things I think about that I remember that were really good is she made rolls. She would put all that she had and it was really basic, like yeast, flour, salt. What the hell? Anything else? I don't know. Water.
Water. Yeah.
Yeah, and you mix it together, roll it, knead the bread, and then you sit it out for an hour till it rises, and I remember my brother asking her how she made her roll recipe, and she was telling him. She said, "Oh, you use shortening. Don't use butter. How much do you use? About this much. How much is this much?" She goes, "About the size of a duck egg."
I don't think I've ever seen a duck egg in real life.
Okay, well, a duck
Only
egg's
in
a little
fake
bit
life.
bigger than a regular egg, so that's about the size and the amount of shortening you would use to make the rolls. But her rolls were amazing. People just always bring them, until we started getting dogs, and she would bring the dogs with her, and the rolls would be unwrapped, and then the dog fur would be and it's many more stories.
Did he ever figure
You
it
don't
out?
mind dog hair? What's the big deal?
Did he ever figure out the roll recipe or no?
No, she told him.
But
And
did
he made 'em-
Did he make them the standard?
Not as good.
No.
Not as good. The thing is there's something about the original that just makes a difference. It's weird. It's like when we used to go to, what's the pizza place we would always go to when we were at Rehoboth?
Grottos.
Grottos. The original Grottos. You could get a pizza there, and it was wonderful as long as it was hot. You had to eat it in the first 3 minutes of it dropping on your table. Otherwise,
you got the
throw it in
whole
the
pizza.
trash.
It was not great.
Yeah,
it was not great.
But if you go across the street, it was much worse.
The heat distribution on their oven for one slice of pizza was perfect. I don't know what they did every time, but the heat distribution made the perfect crust on the bottom. And maybe it was because they made it 2 days ago and it was already stale. Maybe that's why too.
And also, when you ate it, it was so hot that I think it just burned your mouth, and you didn't know that it was a piece of crap pizza.
Oh, maybe that too.
But then when you went to the other Grottos, they didn't taste as good. It's the same thing with the fries. What's the fries place there?
Thrashers.
Thrashers, yeah. That one Thrashers there on the corner where the time is, where the clock is. Amazing. The other ones, good, not as good. Not as good, my opinion. Anyway.
I think one of the owners too worked at the Thrashers, because I saw the same guy for about 10 years.
Or what's the other one? We went to Ben's Chili Bowl when you go downtown. We went there. It's
the
great.
one in Roslyn was
Sucked
not great.
ass.
That was really bad.
But they also had one at the airport.
I think they're closed down now. I think that location closed down.
The one at the airport, I think, is closed too.
No, that one's still open. I saw that on the way back. Yeah.
Okay, then I mean, I was just really disappointed that it wasn't.
Me and you ate, funny enough, at probably every Ben's Chili Bowl location in the area, I imagine, because we've been to the DC one, we've been to the
original
one
was
together.
The best.
Oh yeah, the one me and you ate at the one at the airport, and it was not great either.
And it was just sort of like, really, you sucked
Sorry
twice?
for the slander, Ben's Chili Bowl, but it's just not. It was not great. Not great in the other locations.
And I love chili dogs. I mean, I'm a dog eating dog.
Aficionado. I would
Yeah.
say aficionado at this point.
Yeah.
But what are
What
you
else did
cooking? What are you cooking these days? What are you
what
making?
at me? I make my pizza. I don't
You
make the dough. I don't make the sauce. Sometimes I make the sauce. Sometimes I make the dough. But it's the toppings and how you put them on, how you distribute them, and how long I cook it. And that's usually pretty good. I just made fettuccine Alfredo for the wife. Uh, when
did you do
I
like the homemade Alfredo sauce?
hell no, man.
You did it out of the jar.
I did the 7 second,
Yeah, I never saw a
quickie
reason.
fettuccine. But one of the things that I always try to do is add the special touches to it that make it better, and that is to make garlic bread. You know,
Fair, fair.
because that just sets
Easy
it off.
too. It's always easy.
And then you got like the fresh ground pepper on the top, and then I have Parmesan cheese, the block, not the pre-shredded crap, and then shred that over top. Those things make something taste like Olive Garden to good. Maybe
I
that's
like the
not
way
maybe that's not the right way to put it, but
I
I mean it's like
totally forgot what I was gonna say.
it's that those kind of things that you can do when you're cooking that can add so much to the flavor of the meal and also the I guess the ambiance, maybe. I don't know, something like that. I can't figure out what
I
the thing
remember
is.
what I was gonna say. The way you make garlic bread, I think is
Yeah.
unlike any other person. Because all
I
you
mean,
do is you take the garlic seasoning
yeah,
and you take the butter, right? And then you
garlic
just
powder.
that's it. That's it. There's
Yeah.
no like garlic cloves at
Hell
all.
no.
Yeah.
No, no, no. Yeah,
Isn't that what
I can't
normally
imagine.
isn't that what people do? They like oven roast the garlic and then they
Garlic
spread it.
powder.
Or no, like I'm talking about the cloves of garlic.
I guess you
They
could.
spread
And now
that
that you
on
made me
the
think of that, we have a bunch of garlic, uh, the chopped up garlic in the thing. And what I could do is take
Ooh,
that, throw that across the top of the bread, and then see what happens. I'll
there you
try that.
go.
That's a good
Try it.
idea.
Yeah, no, try it because
We'll
I've
do that for a
roasted
midnight
garlic,
snack.
and you know how long it takes? It's 45 minutes to roast a clove of garlic. And I'm like, I'm not gonna.
Uh,
You do it in preparation, but then you eat it all in a day because it's so
well,
good
you made
roasted.
the probably one of the best dishes you ever. What was it? Bang Bang
Oh, Dan Dan noodles, yeah.
Dan Dan noodles.
That's labor intensive.
Oh
That's the
my
most labor
god!
intensive thing ever. But
I have never tasted. I have gone to. It's a Vietnamese, right?
no, no, it's Chinese. I'm pretty
Chinese,
sure it's
because I went
Chinese,
to a
yeah.
number of different restaurants and tried that, and I'm like, not even close.
It's not even nearly as good as the recipe from
Yeah.
some
Well, they
random
leave a
person
whole lot of
online.
crap out because you like had it was like 90 minutes of prep before you started cooking.
Oh, it's
Crazy.
crazy, yeah. Well, if you think
Yeah.
about the cooking process though, it's really just the chopping. Like
Yeah.
that's all it is. Because what
Yeah.
do? You heat up broth and you put spinach over the broth, and then
Yeah.
all of it really is just the collecting of
Hmm.
15 to 25 different ingredients,
Well,
which
that's
is just
that's like when I make a salad.
yeah,
I
it's similar.
when I do a salad, it's like it's all about the mixture, and the salad is basically based upon what kind of fresh vegetables we have or fresh vegetables we have that are going to go south in the next couple days. And it's like, hey, let's have salad tonight. Why not? Well, I got spinach. I got tomatoes. I got a carrots. Carrots are always there. No, this cucumber's gone. Uh, pepper, green pepper, red pepper. This one's bad. Let's eat the good one. And that's the and maybe I've been getting a little more into chopping up onion and putting it on a fine amount.
Mhm.
I'm working on my prostate. That's why you got to do that. So I like that.
It's like when you have a half a shot of a bunch of different liquor, and then you make a
Yeah.
Long Island iced tea.
Oh,
Kind of the same thing.
no, that's
You just
just
make a
that's
Long
vomit.
Island iced tea.
That's
I've
just
never had a Long Island iced tea.
I think it's kind of sweet because they add I don't know what's in it.
It's vodka,
It's
rum, whiskey. No, there's no whiskey in it. I think it's
I don't know.
vodka,
They put a
rum,
bunch of liquor in
gin,
it, but they also add some liqueurs to it to soften the taste.
Cointreau. Cointreau's in there.
I don't know. So you can't really tell that you've consumed 8 ounces of liquor.
I didn't know that there wasn't any tea in it until this year.
Mai Tai. You ever tried
There's
Mai
no tea in
Tais?
it. That and the Singapore slings we made that one time were really good. Remember the Singapore sling?
Remember the Mai Tais?
Oh yeah, yeah. From
Going to the bar
the
after and
Chinese place.
screaming them, Mai Tai! And
They gave us
and the
they,
lady yells at me, "No Mai Tai for you!" And I was thinking of Soup Night on Nazi because it was so funny because I walked in there and we were hammered and we were drinking and it's like we had a bottle of Booker's which is 135 proof. So it's some ass kicking bourbon, and we drank that bottle, and then we had a little bit more. I don't know how much more, and then the three of us, me and my two cohorts, went down to the gourmet Chinese restaurant and order food. But we go there because they have these like 18 and 24-ounce Mai Tais, and when you drink them, you see a new planet, you know. So, and usually you should start with them, but here we were walking in demanding them, and the lady was like,
We ordered, I think it was 5 batches the last
go.
time, and then she gave us a cup. She gave us the cup, and I don't know where the cup is now. I think we left it at the beach, sadly enough.
Yeah, it was so funny
That
because
was
we
a
did
nice
so
cup
much of those. I love the Mai Tais there. I
because it
love
was
the
like a
walk home.
tiki cup. It was like a tiki
Yeah,
cup, right? Yeah.
yeah, it was perfect.
That Chinese place is good
Yep.
too.
Yeah, they had great, amazing Chinese food. I was very
That might
one
be
of
the
my
best
favorite.
Chinese I've
Yeah,
ever had.
I would say
Weirdly
best.
enough,
Yeah,
in Rehoboth Beach,
you have
Delaware.
all the strange. Well, it was actually even called gourmet Chinese restaurant.
I thought it was called Confucius Gourmet. Yeah.
Oh, Confucius Gourmet,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it was gourmet. I mean, I've eaten Chinese food in China, and it wasn't as good as that.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's an Americanized version, and what we ate in China was, I'm guessing, was not.
I will say they have like 700 different iterations of Panda Express out here.
Oh yeah.
Like
Ooh.
every corner is a Chinese buffet. Every single like, on every
Okay.
corner is
Yeah,
crazy.
I wouldn't. I'm not that.
We can do a Chinese buffet tour the next time you guys come
I
out.
remember what are the ones where they roll them, the little dumplings, and
Soup
fry them.
dumpling or just the normal dumpling?
They make the normal dumpling and fry it, and then pull them out. And we had that when Seth and I and little Seth, we walked the China Wall, and we had the cooks were like a bunch of Chinese guys, and they made food every night and made different Chinese dishes. We had egg rolls that were just crazy, crazy good because they make them right in front of you. And then they drop them in the grease that's spattering and burning everybody to pieces, and they pull them out and just so you can eat. And it was unlimited dumplings. Oh my God, Seth was just vacuum cleaner Bob on that. and because when they dropped out, they'd cook a bunch, they'd roll them out, and everybody grab a bunch, and he'd be going like, "Does anybody want any more?" And they just take the rest. I swear it was Homer.
Comes on.
It was Homer. It was Homer Simpson, man. It was so cool.
Is that kind of
Does
like
anybody want any more?
when he's in hell? You ever remember the Homer Simpson in
Oh,
hell?
when they give him the donuts?
Yeah, they give him the donuts and then they run out of donuts.
No, this is no more.
They can't
more,
torture him.
more, more, more. You're like, whoa. We talk about all the different foods.
Remember that time,
I mean,
Christmas, Peking duck? You guys
Ooh.
made a Peking duck?
yeah.
Oh my God. And then we never did it ever again because I think it was really
my
labor
God.
intensive.
And just dirtied every dish. And it's that fatty, greasy grease. Duck grease is just hard to get off of
That
stuff.
was the best duck I've ever had. Easily.
Yeah, won't beat it. Yeah.
It was better than Peking Gourmet Inn. I was shocked.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't think that we could do it, but we did.
As long as you do that, we did the purple sauce, the plum sauce, right?
Yeah, plum sauce.
Oh, you gotta do
with
all
the
that. It's like
spring onion and then is there
everything was
another
made from
thing?
scratch.
Cucumber.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't have the what is it? The wraps, did we? Did we do the wraps?
I don't remember.
I don't think we did the wraps.
I don't remember.
I don't know if we did the wraps. I don't think so.
But I love going to
Didn't need the
Peking
wraps. It was
Gourmet.
great.
They do some amazing duck there.
Oh, Peking Gourmet Inn, yeah.
Yeah.
We have to go when I'm back in a couple weeks.
Yeah, we're coming back in a couple weeks. So we're going to China. Why don't we eat there?
Oh yeah, I guess you're right.
We'll be in Beijing. Couldn't we get Peking duck in Beijing?
We should go to a lot of buffets before we go to the China.
This is not nearly as good as 1, 2, 3 buffet.
This is not nearly as good as Chinese food buffet.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, we should probably we should do.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be
there.
in Beijing for a day, and then we're going north to Tibet, and we're going to eat at a lot of hole in the wall places. So
I'm excited.
we'll probably get dysentery in about an hour.
I hope so.
So just bring rolls of toilet paper is what I said.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed for the dysentery. But you've always been an Italian man too. I always thought we were part Italian.
Uh, veal parm is spaghetti and meatballs, pizza. Well, I worked at an Italian restaurant, Italian hoagies, like we used to call them launchers, and that's where you put the meat in, you put a little lettuce and a little onion, and then you bake it. You pour sub oil in the middle, and then you throw it in the oven, and the sub oil heats up and melts the cheese and puts it all together and makes it a sandwich. And then you pull it out, and you can throw lettuce on it and tomato on it afterward. Oh my gosh, it's it's amazing. And then we used to make the lasagna. My the person that used to own this house had a lasagna recipe from who is it? Who's the war person that was a spy? Julia Child. She used to share recipes. Evelyn, your aunt Evelyn, used to share recipes with Julia Child because she was in Germany, and they were, and this would have been in the 50s. I think when she was at the State Department, and they used to cook together. And she brought back some of the recipes. One was lasagna. Leslie has the lasagna recipe. She makes it, and it's like, wow, you know. But it's also like, remember, no matter how, when you make something, it depends on what you buy, put into it. If you buy anything shitty, that it alters the taste. If you buy different ricotta cheese, if you buy, you know, Billy's ricotta cheese as opposed to, you know, Harry's, it makes a difference.
Quality of
So it's
ingredients.
like quality of
I
ingredients
think
matters
is
all the
really
way.
important.
And a lot of times, just because you pay more doesn't mean they're better.
No.
You know, because I paid more and they're not better, they're different. And different is not always better. Sometimes it's just different. And you're like, wow, this is interesting.
You know what I've been seeing too is people buying stalks of oregano to use on pizza and
Really?
on sandwiches. Fresh oregano, which I've never seen. But I guess you could just grow it yourself. We used to have a bunch of.
Yeah.
What happened to those plants?
Well, we grow them and they die so quick because we don't, you know, we don't use them that often. The same thing with like mint, the same thing with all those different things. Sage, rosemary, thyme, all that. You can have your own little garden, a fresh stuff, but you got to remember that it's on the vine, so it's not dried. And so if you're going to crumble it, you can throw it in fresh and it has a little different taste than if it's dried.
That's fair.
Right? Not the same. So there's all sorts of different things that, and you know, and too much sage or too much rosemary, or too much thyme, you know, and it's like I've done that where I balled it all up and thrown it in. They're like, well, you shouldn't do that. It would only be like a little bit or not a lot, or, you know, 5 times that amount. You can't even taste it, you know, and it's like, okay, I didn't know what the
Well, I
difference
see
was.
that a lot of the recipes call for like a teaspoon
Yeah.
usually, and I can't taste the difference between none and a teaspoon. I usually do like maybe maybe 3-4 teaspoons probably.
That's
Around 4
another
teaspoons.
thing about making things. Like if you're making, when I make pancakes or I make cookies, when I make cookie dough, I taste the shit, you know, and I don't wash my hands and I don't waste,
You
and I
never
don't
wash
wear
your hands.
gloves. I don't wear my gloves,
I don't
and
think
I
I've ever
usually go
seen
to
you
the
wash your hands.
bathroom in the middle while I'm making it.
You do always go to the bathroom. I think you copy that from Seth. I think Seth used to go to the bathroom while he was while he used to
You
grill.
cannot eat food that he hands to you. You can't. It's just not. It's, oh my God. I remember we went to Letteri's. Letteri's has in this area here probably best Italian meats and subs and a sub oil and all that stuff. He imports it. It's in Florida Avenue all the way in DC. Oh my God. And he
Warehouse
used to come to
district.
he used to come to Desperados in the 70s. And that's where Seth met him, and they used to hang out, and they've known each other since. And we would go there on Saturdays and go shopping at like 8 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday and get a 6-pack of Peroni. And it was the only place that you could get a shopping cart. You put a 6-pack of beer in there, and you walk around and you go, "Oh, I'll take a bottle of that. I'll get some of that. We'll get some subs." And then he'd go to the guy. There was a guy there, there was an Orioles fan that would always talk about the Orioles, and he would talk back and forth. And the guy would say, "What do you want?" He goes, "Oh, I think I want to get a half pound of that." And then he'd cut some pieces and throw them up there. Seth would grab them. "Here, you got to eat this." I'm like, "No, I don't eat after you, man. I've done that once. I ain't doing that anymore." I mean, it's gastrointestinal death. I just, no.
The all chemical balance on his hands.
There's friends you have that whose hands are like his.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I'm sure I do.
Yeah.
I have a
There's
few of
things
those
that
friends.
live on there And it's like, he would like, nah, nothing ever bothers me. And it's like, I know why, man, because you've eaten so much, you got so much E. coli on each one of your fingers that it's like, you lick your fingers and my God, you've killed like 7,000, you would have killed 7,000 people. But when you pick up food and you hand it to me, I just like, no. I did it. I did it. I did it and I regretted it. I
How
came
many
home.
times did you do it before you learned your lesson?
I came home and I was vomiting and I was pooping and I was doing all that stuff. And I'm like, oh, I don't know, man. What'd you eat? I'm like, that shit you handed me. It's your hand. It is not the meat. It's your hand. Don't touch my food. Don't touch my food. And he's a monster when it comes to eating. Oh my God.
Oh, yes. He was great.
Yeah.
Very good.
Amazing cook. Just wow.
Really good at grilling. Grill master.
Yeah. Well, that's your steak. I mean, you're the wizard at steaks now.
It's really easy. Yeah. It's gotten
Yeah,
really,
it is.
really
It
easy.
is easy, but it's. I think the hardest thing to cook is fish.
Fish because it's so quick. Is that why it's hard for you?
Yeah, it's salmon or tuna or anything like that. I love it rare. And oh my God, because I remember we had Copper River salmon here. We would eat salmon and it was always overcooked and we never knew up until about we went to Seattle and they said the Copper River's running. You want to try it? And we said, bring it. They said, how do you want to cook? It's like, well, whatever the chef thinks you cook. They said rare. And I was just like, rare? Why would you cook salmon rare? No one would do that. They bring it out. I ate it. I was like, oh my God, this is better than sex. It was like, whoa. It was just off the, just like, whoa. It was nothing.
Mom said that was the first time that you guys learned that you've been eating salmon overcooked
the wrong way.
Yeah.
And then since then, it's like almost every fish, white fish you cook till they're stronger. You don't cook pink or colored fish. You don't cook it as long. I'm drawing that
cod.
conclusion.
I mean, if you think about cod, you're frying.
Cod, you got to make sure that it's all the way cooked. I don't want mushy cod.
No, mushy cod.
Or mushy perch. That would make me go.
I don't think
but like tuna, red tuna, or halibut, or is it halibut that's red? No, that's white. It's white. No, cook that through. Anything that's swordfish steaks, same way. They're red. You want to make you can eat them rare. So those are the kind of things that I would eat rare that are really, really good. I think about the steaks that we cook that are really good. But I mean, beef's beef. It doesn't really take a whole lot of brains to cook it on both sides for 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes or 2 3/4 minutes. As long as you got a hot flame and you can flip it, what's the big deal?
It's all a game of time for that. And heat too.
Well, heat is another one. I know somebody that says he swears by a iron skillet, and you put the pan in, you put the steak, you wait until you heat it, till you think you've heated it more than you could possibly heat it. You throw it in there, you put a chunk of butter on top. Of course, you salt and pepper a lot, and then you put the top on it. You cook it for about 90 seconds, then you flip it and have it covered. Another lump of butter. When the butter melts, you take it out. Rare. Amazing.
I've heard the cast iron is something to behold.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't like cleaning things though, so I don't think.
Yeah, I don't like cleaning anything. But you come to our house, and when you cook, you like dirty every single dish.
Every single dish.
I know. See, I am of the school where I try to use things over and over and over, which is not good because the difference between using separate dishes to mix things together as opposed to just mixing them all in one is a different taste.
That's for sure.
My grandmother, no, my aunt, that's one of the things she used to do, and she would dirty all the bowls. She would have a bowl to mix the salt, pepper, and whatever the hell it was in one, and then mix those 4 small spice elements with the bigger flour. Instead of doing just dumping them in there and mixing them one at a time, she would mix them all and then mix it again in separate bowls. And you're like, and dirty like 6 freaking bowls to make it. But when you tasted it, oh my God.
Oh, it was perfect.
Yeah, it was so much different. And it was and you know what it is? It comes down to the amount of time and meticulousness you put into, your effort, and your effort pays off. And I think it really does pay off with food. I think it pays off with what you know, when you take your time at cooking it and you're also a little experimental, not crazy. You know, you don't need to put lima beans in with chili. Okay. You know, I'm speaking to you, Edwin. You know, there are things that you don't want to do.
You don't mess with
Yeah. Yeah. There's like, no, I don't think so. You can add a lot of things. We put some eggs in that chili. No, we're not doing
hot
that.
dogs
No.
and eggs, right?
We did that.
Hot dogs and
That
eggs.
is the worst
I
meal.
still think it was because there was residual soap in the pan. I'm
I don't know.
still of a believer that there was residual soap in the pan, and that's why we were sick for what felt like 4 weeks.
Every time you say that, I think of that moment and I cannot get it out of my mind.
Well, they were also like strange Lebanese sausages that were veal sausage or something.
Veal, that's right. They're veal, but they're
Yeah, they
supposed to be
weren't
hot
really
dogs.
hot.
They were hot dogs.
Yeah,
They're veal hot
it
dogs.
was
So
odd.
and we cut them up because I was like, it's sausages, right? What's the big deal? And it's like, no, it wasn't. It was hot
No,
dogs. It was hot dogs and eggs.
it was
And it
strange.
was the nastiest shit I have ever done. It was nasty, 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 nasty. You should eat cat food before you eat
I
that.
still think there was soap in the pan. I'm pretty
I
sure.
don't care. Soap would have made it taste better.
I think the funniest thing too is we finished it, which I think is the
Yeah.
best part of the whole thing, is that we finished everything on the plate.
Yeah.
I think on that note, we're actually gonna wrap up here. We're coming to the end,
Mm-hmm.
and as always, thank you guys for listening, and we will see you next week on Friday. How does that sound? See you then. You got any party? words?
Yeah, let's talk more. Let's
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
more about different dinners and happy dinners. Oh, Joe, it's all forgiven. We still love you, Mr. Rogan.
This is
Yep.
good episode. All right, bye bye.